I really love this movie. I was just wondering, what was the challenges you had between, acting in this movie to directing and like writing it and, the
Thanks, Lorraine.
concepts and everything?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking me. Yeah, she's asking what was the difficult kind of thing between directing it and acting it? Well, so for me, it was pretty weird because I actually don't like watch any of my movies because I don't like watching myself. I mean, I know it sounds like I'm so weird, but I think I mean, maybe I am, but a lot of actors are like that too. Which is like you make the thing, you live in the spirit of the character, you don't want to see your face a year from now, what it looks like and what they cut out or whatever. And so for me, it was just like I had to come to terms with watching myself because I was directing it and then I was editing it for a year. We were looking at every frame. And so I did a few things to help that out. And you could tell your IU friends that I wore my hat that I wear in my life so that I can cover my self-conscious hair and my glasses, which are my glasses. Basically, I like kind of camouflage myself in all the ways that make me feel more comfortable. But also, I also didn't really watch the playback. So the playback is where you do a scene and then you go behind the monitor and you put your headphones on and see what the scene was. And I really just wouldn't do that. So I basically would block the scene, meaning I would hold a little monitor, like a little TV, and while we were acting in the scene in rehearsal, I'd see where I'm walking and what it looks like, so I could see if the camera movement was good. And then after the take, I just wouldn't watch it. I would just say to the producers and cinematographer, did I look like a human being? And sometimes they said yes. And I asked the cinematographer, did that look good? And sometimes he would say yes, and then we would just move on to the next thing. We were moving so quick because this movie was filmed in 25 days, which seems like a long time, until you're realizing you're shooting a movie in airports, on airplanes, on trains, at small towns, on big cities, and concentration camps with a cast of 8 ensemble members. It was just so quick that it was like I didn't have time to like second guess. I think if we had 40 days, I think I would be like in a panic because I would just be constantly worrying about all the stuff that went wrong. But it was basically like, we have 25 days, let's see if we can make anything good come of this. That was the feeling. Thank you so much. Can I go back up just for a show of equality, I guess? Hi. Wait, I see you all the way in the back with your hand. Yes, you. Yes, it's your birthday. Hi. Project if you can.
I was curious about how at what point when you were writing, you knew what the ending would be, and how you decided on the ending, and also, I guess, like, what feeling did you want us to have? Because it did feel a little happy and, I don't know, bittersweet. So
Yeah.
I was curious how that came about as the writer.
Oh, that's such a great question. I assume everybody could hear her because she was there. And yeah, she's asking about the ending, and yeah, I'm not sure when it came to me. Basically, I mean, I wrote the last 5 pages in probably 10 minutes because this is what often happens in a movie. You're kind of everything's kind of coming out, and the quicker you write it, the more natural it will seem. So the first, it took me years to conceive the story, and then 6 months to write the thing. And then the last 10 minutes when they get off that airplane and the slap to me going home and Benji staying at the airport probably took 7 minutes. I remember just sitting there, my wife told me, you gotta pick my kid up from school. I mean, he's my kid too, but she was like, you gotta pick up our child from school, and I was like, I will be there exactly on the dot, but I didn't finish the script. But basically it was it was inevitable. It's basically, I was with these characters for so long, and I had written about these characters and other things. I knew these guys so well, and I knew that he's not going to come over for dinner. He just can't exist as the thing that David wants, which is a stable person. And Benji is just not going to ever be the person that David wants. And David's never going to be the person that Benji wants. Benji wants David from the past, who he can kind of control, and who he can love, and who they were joined at the hip, and they don't have to have a job together, and they can just hang out all night. And David has kind of just grown out of that a little bit. He's self-actualized and has stability in his life. And so there's a kind of, it's a bittersweet feeling of these guys love each other, but they're not going to be with each other forever. And then in terms of the very ending, I wanted to see David go home to his family and see that this guy who's so self-conscious, who feels like such a loser, who spent this entire trip feeling less than in the shadow of this other guy, actually has some stability in his life. He's going to be okay. And I wanted the audience to not feel that way about Kieran, that we're in this airport with him and we don't know if he's going to be okay. And I wanted the airport basically to mirror the opening, but also because as a writer, it's the place I can most imagine this character. He's great in brief interactions, but not great in long-term relationships. I think you probably all know people like that who are really charming in the moment, but the next time you see them, there's actually something missing, and they can't actually hold a relationship. And that's Kieran. Benji. I mean, they're doing fine. But basically, like, the airport is where you can thrive, because it's all transient relationships. It's all immediate, and then it's over. Yeah, thanks. Wait, can I just also do a time check? So,
3 minutes.
was 3 minutes? Wow. Okay, hi, you're so...
So I worked with,
Here, take the microphone.
So I worked with your real cousin, Jamie EISENBERG,
Oh, wow.
at CBS, and was just wondering, why was it important for you to make this film? And did you draw anything from actual experiences in your own life? And the fact that when I first saw this trailer, I was like, I know his cousin. And now I just was like, I'm just thinking, you were watching, the movie, not watching the movie, but when I with the trailer, I initially thought, oh yeah, I know you're really close with your cousin. So was there anything like that you drew from a personal experience, but also why was it important for you to make this film?
Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, my cousin is Jamie. He's like, maybe people know him here. He's actually quite a well-known, like, fantasy football expert for CBS Sports. No, like, he's actually quite well known, really great. But not my, not my top 3 interests. But, but he's a guru. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to make the movie because and tell the story, because I guess it's something I'd never seen before. It was like, I want to make a movie about, like, my family's experience. I truly do love, like, Holocaust-themed movies. I don't know why, but I love that genre, and I felt like I'd never seen exactly something like this, where it's talking about trauma and third-generation pain and historical trauma, but it's doing it from a perspective that feels more real to me, like irreverent. Like, this is the way I talk with people. And it doesn't feel like, I wanted the movie to not feel like this self-important history lesson or homework assignment where, like, you're being told about this horrible thing and we all have to sit there quietly and learn about it and feel bad about ourselves. I wanted it to feel like this is the way human beings would react to this thing, which is to say, sometimes you're weeping for the history, sometimes you're ambivalent about it, sometimes you're making a joke because it's too painful to cry, and so that's kind of what I wanted to convey with this. And so the tone of this movie, which is like funny and also heartbreaking, is like something I can't say I've ever seen before in like a movie with this theme. So that's why. And I just want to say to close out, thank you so much for going. This is a small movie, and so like the fact that people are coming in the theaters when you can see Red One is kind of amazing to me. And this has been the best treat for me is getting to meet audience members, because it's just so nice and the questions are so thoughtful and lovely, and I can't thank you enough for coming.